So Funny It Hurts is brought to you by Pacific West Injury Law. Got into an accident? Contact Pacific West Injury Law. Also, there's nothing better for your mental health than a great workout. And our episode is brought to you by Fit Club, the only place to be. It's so funny, it hurts. Welcome to So Funny It Hurts. Now this man needs zero introduction. I feel like the 10-year-old in me is losing my mind. Jamie Kennedy. Hi, welcome to So Funny It Hurts.
That's a funny intro.
Thank you.
The 10-year-old is losing her mind.
And is that a little creepy? The 16 and the 20-year-old in me. Now I'm 35, so the excitement is unreal.
The 23-year-old's losing her mind. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Listen,
I'm
so happy you're here. I'm thankful you had a show last night, a late night show. Can I just tell you, I want to talk about everything about you, but you have the most incredible ability to talk about things that most people are getting canceled for and making it so funny, so relatable, and honestly, it's the truth.
It's a very big compliment, and thank you. That's very sweet of you to say.
Well, it's crazy because I feel like, we know you from all of the films and the Jamie Kennedy Experiment, which I want to talk about. So we know you have a lot of balls. Like, you do a lot of crazy shit, which you've done, since the beginning of your career, even with Marty Powers, which we'll talk about.
Wow. Okay.
But do you get up there? You post a lot about your hecklers on your social media. Mm-hmm. Has there been an incident where it's just been too much and you've been like, no, man, I'm not performing right now?
I've never not performed, but one of the worst heckles ever was about 5 years ago at the Irvine Improv, one of the greatest clubs in the world. And a lady was heckling me. Meaning she got offended by a joke. I comment on it. And when you comment on the joke, then usually people go, ha, 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 and then realize the heckler is, goofy. Well, then I commented on it. That didn't get a laugh. I did one more try, did not get a laugh. And another one goes, why are you being so rude to her? So the whole audience was attuned to the heckler's frequency and not mine. It was the only time in the history where pretty much the whole audience thought I was bad. And I go, what's your fucking problem? And then it went back and forth. And literally I said, bro, this is going to be on TMZ. And sure enough, it was. And TMZ actually did me a solid and showed more of it. So it didn't look like I was totally out of pocket. But literally it was wild. It was like a bad heckler. Not the only heckler no comic can deal with is table talk. Table talk is, okay, did you hear what happened? So, and just not, because you just can't combat that. We try to. Everything else is we can all deal with. But they're just not paying attention. And if no one shuts them up, then that's a hard heckler to deal with. But everyone else I can deal with.
Yeah.
But I deal with hecklers more than ever now because...
Well, your content's very controversial.
You think so?
I think so because I feel like, and I mean it in the best way. I feel like, one thing I love about comics like you and Bill Burr, I think that you haven't you're like an old school comic. You're not going to let cancel culture restrain you from speaking your truth or making a joke out of a joke or being a comic. I think a lot of comedians, and listen, it's your world, you tell me. I think a lot of comedians are playing it safe now in order to not get everything taken away from them that they've been building for the past decade.
I mean, there's, again, that's very sweet of you to say, and there's some truth to that. There are a lot of comics pushing it, but there's definitely ones dancing around, And the whole thing with the cancellation is that basically no one wants to get kicked off the nipple. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody is making money. If you're making some sort of money off a corporate dollar, then you can be potentially kicked off the nipple, the big nipple of corporations. You know what I'm saying? So then people went to YouTube and these different places once they got, out of TV and stuff. And then YouTube became very corporate. So it's absolutely we have to progress as a society, but we've lost our collective minds in terms of nuance and common sense. So a comedy club is where you lift your weights, okay? You don't get a muscle without lifting weights, and sometimes the weights drop. It's a gym. It's messy. And so when we go in there, we'll never know if anything works, ever, unless we try it. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a high level of forgiveness, because it's not a guitar where you can hit the notes. The note response is the audience's reaction. That's the instrument. And so, yeah, if people are going to come in and get all, booty tickled over jokes, it's just not for them.
Yeah. All right, so I want to kind of start from the beginning, because you're from Upper Darby. My father's from Upper Darby.
Oh, my God. This is so wild.
Are you an Eagles guy?
Yeah, I think we all have to be.
Yeah, we have to be. It's the law.
Yeah.
And we're having a good couple of seasons, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed that I didn't go to the Super Bowl, but I felt better because
they lost.
I would have been bummed if I was there and they lost.
Yeah, they did. Listen, we lost our defense in the last quarter, so it was kind of our fault, but I don't want to talk about that today.
Okay. Wow, it's crazy you're from UD.
Yeah, is that crazy?
Yeah, it's really weird.
But when I was, because I really am such a big fan of yours, but I wanted to make sure that I knew everything. We've worked together and we didn't even know it, because I worked with Fran Drescher. That was my start into the comedy world. And Fran Drescher was doing Living with Fran. And that was a show that your production company came up with.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah, we did. I had my show on. I had a couple shows rocking on the WB, and then they said, what else you have? And me and my buddy had this idea, and we went in and pitched the show, and it was called Quarter Life Crisis, which was basically about a woman who was about 50 dating a guy who's 25. And it was based on some reality in my life with my buddy dating an older woman. And then we were lucky enough to get Fran, and I could see how you have a Fran, you and Fran have a kindred soul.
It's Italian Jewish.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
It's incredible. And so I guess you were on the show, but you were I was on the show a lot of the first season, and then I got busy, and then, they ran the show.
And then I took over for you in the second season.
There you go.
Because they needed that comedic relief.
There you go. So that's wild that you were on it, and wild.
Yeah.
Yes,
and it's great. So you kind of actually got my start into the comedic world. You didn't even know that. So thank you.
Wow. Okay.
And I appreciate it. But you grew up in Upper Darby.
Yeah.
And you had this wild success. But what was it like for you? Like, what was the first point in your life, if ever, where you were like, first of all, I'm funny and I want to do this? And did you ever use it as a way to get yourself out of trouble, or was it difficult for you growing up? I know a lot of comics like myself, I used humor to sort of be the distraction to everything that was happening in my childhood, and it made me kind of who I got to be in my comedy side.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably learned I was funny when in school I would do something and girls would be like giggle, but they would be like, "You're weird." It wasn't like funny, but I was like, "You're weird," but they were laughing, so I was getting a reaction. And then I think once my mom had these little like brunches sometimes at the house, a bunch of old ladies, and she would wheel me out, and I would be funny doing like making fun of the other lady or doing an imitation, and so that was like some kind of early form of validation. And then one day I just started I did an imitation in my head. I heard something and then I did it, and I said, well, that sounded pretty good. I was probably like 13 years old, and I was like, that actually sounds like what I was imitating. And then I got a tape recorder, and I started recording voices into the tape recorder as things that I like to imitate, and then I'd play them back. And I don't know, I got like 10 or 12, and I thought, well, that's weird. And I didn't know anything about it, or if it's a skill set or a career, but I just thought that was the thing. And so, I went throughout life going to the prison of schools. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I would always get in trouble for being disruptive, for talking, but I was funny. So yes, in ways of detentions and with teachers and the homework and all that stuff, it was late, it'd be funny. But yeah, you always use your humor. But it wasn't really until I was about was 15, and I said, maybe this is something I could pursue as a career.
Yeah. And then you did. And you've done so much. My favorite thing about you is that it's crazy to me how brilliant you can be in the Jamie Kennedy experiment and then go to Ghost Whisperer and have this really amazing different side of your personality and your acting ability. When you came to LA, you wrote this book, Wannabe. It's in the book, Wannabe. And you talk about Marty Powers. Mm-hmm. Moving to LA is very difficult. I think I did, and it was very difficult having representation and getting yourself out there. So who is Marty Powers to you?
I'll try to give you a condensed version of this. All right. So.
I only ask because I think it's so iconic and says so much of who you were even at that time.
Yeah, no, I was... So, and this is a good microphone to do it. So I was living in my buddy's house who was dating a 50-year-old, and he was about 25, okay? I was living in the back house, okay, in an area by Westwood. And I had multiple jobs. I was a telemarketer. So by the Seventh Veil, there was a room, and everybody would sell. Exactly, you know where that is. Right next to it, there's what we call a grunt room, and it was struggling actors, strippers, wannabe comedians, all the stuff, dialing for dollars. And so we would dial, try to get leads on copy machines. We would call corporations, and then we would try to sell them toner, right? And so I did that. And when doing that, I started practicing my comedy because I was doing open mics at night, and I would use different voices and dialects to call different cities. And I would try to ingratiate myself. So if I was calling Texas, I'd be like, hey, is Phil there? Hey, Phil, let me tell you about this new damn copy machine. So I would do all that stuff, right? I also did, in the afternoon, I delivered sandwiches. Okay, sandwiches up on Sunset, those little carts where people pull and they go into different businesses. Uh-huh. At that time, I had a very older Jewish guy that I had a sandwich every day. He would buy roast beef. He would buy pastrami on rye. But what kind of rye you got? What kind is that sweet mustard? I want hot mustard. And he talked like this. And so then there was another guy who was huge in the business named Marvin Dower, I think, or Marty Bauer. And Marty Bauer was the head of another company that ended up becoming UTA. Long story, super boring. I just concocted a character. I had learned so much through telemarketing. It was like 3 objections, then hang up. Don't take no, boom, boom, boom. Once you have them on the hook, sell. And I was selling office products. I was selling toner, unsexy, pencils, unsexy, whiteout, unsexy. I'm sexier than a pencil. So it makes a list of how to sell things and what are the and so I made a list about myself. I was like, what are the products? What are the good points about me? So then I just treated myself as a product, made a character. I wanted to be powerful, so I called him Power, Marty Power. And then I got a book, which you had to do back in the days, pre-internet, and I called every agency and every casting director, and I started my pitch, and I would say, I got a kid here who's a cross between Robbie Benson and James Woods. So that was a thing back then. This was 30 years ago. You wanted edge, but you wanted cuteness. And so I cold called, 100 or two, and out of like 200 people, I might get 10 responses, 5 ask for a tape. Tape leads to a meeting, and that's how it started. But I literally just lied my ass off because no one cared about me. No one wanted me. No one ever wants you in LA. I tell people now that are doing well, they get with so many people now I know only making it through their own social media, and then the agencies come swoop in. I'm like, why do that? They never wanted you before. They weren't there for the process. You built this beautiful dinner. Now they want to eat it. And so, yeah, and that's how it started. And I got my first holding deal for MTV in 1994. I was 23 years old. And that was just to do like interstitials. And so that was a 6-month deal. But Lisa Berger, I love you. She out there. She was an executive, and then she became the president of E! And all this stuff. But she was like, I think you're so funny. And so she did a lot of little stuff with me, and then that led to other things.
Okay, so you're right. You kind of like make the table and they eat it. But I feel like you you kind of made your own table and then ate it. Like you created the Jamie Kennedy experiment, and this was before like Punk'd. This was in 2002. Like there were not shows.
Yeah, 2001.
2001.
Yeah, that's when we started it.
And you would prank these people. They had no idea what was going on. They were insane plots and storylines. Was there ever one that went totally a way that you didn't anticipate, good or bad, and you were like, yeah, okay, this is it?
Multiple times. We didn't have a lot of money, and the network was like, you need to not miss a prank because you're not going to have a fucking show. So you need to fucking get the prank. So what we would do is pre-produce, meaning you would come in, you want to prank your friend, and we would know everything about her. We set up the scenario. So it would be so golden, right? Like she'd be in this weird bizarro world. And so we would do 4 marks for each prank. So 4 different tries at it. And we'd usually always get at least 3. Some would bust, but we would have enough. Probably one of the craziest ones was a guy. It's the simplest one. It was in Pasadena with golfers. And I was B-Rad. And the guy was like, hey, we missed someone. We got to add someone to our foursome. So if you know anything about golf, an unknown person in the foursome who's annoying is the worst fucking thing, especially for a serious golfer. And so we went in, and every time he would do something, B-Rad would come up and be like, yo, look at his, I forgot I had my rap. I was like, look at his ring. Look at his swing. He's smooth like Jack Nicholson. It's kind of Sickleson. No, I said, look at his swing. It's like Phil Mickelson, kind of Sickleson. He ain't Jack Nicholson, like. And the dude was so fucking. He's like, hey, can you stop that? Can you stop that? I was like, my bad, G. So we would do it, and I was like, as soon as he was about to putt, I'm like, damn, that hole is your home, son. And like, he missed like 3 putts. We got
and it's dead quiet.
Oh yeah, everybody else was in on it. It's dead quiet. He's like, yeah, and he fucking stopped playing. He was walking off the course. We said it's a prank, and he threw the club, which is a putter, which I think is like, fuck you, and he threw it. We like missed us, and he's the only mark in the history of our show that did not sign. So we give you a little bit of cash. You meet with our cute producers. They give you some, hot coffee. Like, hey, you're going to be on a show. And he was like, fuck you, you pieces of shit. And he went absolutely bananas. And he was the only mark in the history that would never sign.
And you can't air it if they don't, right?
No, you can't.
So it never got aired?
No. Well, a version of it with different marks.
But not that guy.
Yes, his. So he was real mad.
Would you ever bring it back?
Definitely. I mean,
because listen, TikTok tries to do it, and everything's so staged. That's the one thing I hate about social media. They're like, "Oh, I was pranking my wife," and it's not. Like, it's also stupid.
I hate that. I didn't even realize that, and people said, "Dude, you're the only guy that's real about it." Like, they're all fucking fake, and I was like, "That's sad," and they get a lot of views.
Yeah,
I think the timing has to be right. And I want to, but in the world we live in, who's gonna have the guts? Because we have to go after things, So like, I could start simple, but work my way up. Like, one of my ideas is that everyone has an emotional support dog, and it's like insane. Like, dogs have more rights than humans. I go to my favorite cafe now, and there's a little Schnauzer like just sitting there, and so I'm like, get annoyed with it. So like, I'm like, want to bring in my emotional support alligator, our emotional support tarantula. I want to bring in and just be like, no, it's my emotional support, like, and like, just why, and people will coddle. They'll be like, we understand.
They will, but they'll be very respectful.
Yeah, there's I want to let people in. I only want to have a restaurant that you can, we had one that we came up with where it was, I hope no one steals this, but I don't care. It's you pay by your oppression. So the more oppressed you are
Oh,
as a culture,
my
the
God.
less your bill will be. So if it's a white guy, a black dude, an Asian dude, a Latina chick, a transgender Latina chick, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, okay, this, that. And so, and the couple, like one person wouldn't be in on it. He's like, what the fuck did I? Like, no, you got to pay all their bill. You know what I mean? So there's no one's going to touch that. So I have to start small, get the ratings, and then move up. But like, you know, there's a lot of things we can touch on, which should be, and the people love it, and it will go viral. It's not the people love it. It's the gatekeepers that are scared, but there's a very small portion.
Okay, well, I feel like with your stand-up comedy, look, I think that some comics would look and be like, you're committing career suicide by talking about the pandemic, COVID, Trump, politics, whatever you believe in, because things are so politically separated now. But we do have things like social media where you can garnish 8, 9, 20 million views.
Yeah.
And you don't really need the stand-up clubs anymore to be able to talk like that.
The clubs are great. They allow us to do this.
Okay.
No, but what career though? What suicide? Like who? Like Netflix? Netflix used to be, and I'll say this, you can put it at them. They used to be people that would take chances. I'm not saying they don't now, but they're very one-sided in what they air. Do you know what I'm saying? They have to air both sides. And so it is, but it isn't. There's new companies coming out like Tubi, and there's just so much disruptions. You don't even need a special as much anymore because you can just put your clips out and get popular and hot off of that and sell tickets off of it. So I think that I agree with what you're saying, but I think the influence of the legacy media every day is dwindling. And I think they have legacy IP, okay? But I think the rise of the people that are tired of the bullshit is getting bigger. So Hollywood's traditional influence, they're always going to have some big movies, of course. But I think that you can make a wonderful living, a huge living outside the system saying what you want, as long as it's within reason. I mean, if you're super on the fringes of either side, it's too much. But with that, and as you get popular, Hollywood then goes, well, how can we get in business with you?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, you have to do something pretty shady for Hollywood not to want to work with you, because Hollywood is shady. So it's like, I've been through it. I mean, I'm almost 53 years old. I've done so much. I'm lucky. I've been a part of it. You know, I still do some stuff sometimes, and it's like, I've done it. Like, I don't need to sit here and worry about what some executive thinks.
Yeah. Can you talk about the shadiest thing that's happened to you since being in Hollywood? Because you've had over 30 years in the career.
You know, it's crazy how much I realize how lucky I am, because like I'm a man. You know, I guess I'm a kind of a big dude. I'm not that huge, but like I don't think of just the power of myself being in this body that and who that I've never really had. Like I probably people don't fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Shady. I think I've never had any shady like sexual like people trying to. I mean, honestly, I've had some female people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But to, you know, and we're a guy, so we don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it's hard to grope a guy. A guy's like, oh, cool, you're friendly. You know what I mean? Like, but like I've definitely had like if I were to tell details of things, people would be like, well, that's not proper. But you know, it's the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people didn't care. Everybody was having fun, but like. I've never had like any weirdness like that, but I've seen a lot of scumbags and people that act like these. What is that?
I have
Jesus
no
Christ.
idea.
Jesus Christ! So
Sounds like a
We're in a
trombone.
zoo.
I thought somebody farted.
I know. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm sorry.
Too many, dude. Oh
my God. Wait, do we need
A
to...
vuvuzela,
can
maybe?
we
I'm
tell
not sure.
somebody?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
No, it's fine. We'll keep going. So
It's a comedy show, you know.
Jesus Christ.
Jamie, this is a classy place, and this is where I invited you. Okay,
I thought
only
this was your
fucking
house.
A-list. This is where I live. Rent was so expensive in LA, I had to move here. I have a whole life out here.
I don't think the shadiest shit I saw is just the fucking accounting practices.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like movies have a back end of and people that keep hiding the money and stuff like that. But do I hear of things? Yes. Do you hear of that there's rabbit holes you can go down? I've never seen anything that bad, but there's definitely a lot of dorks. And dorks meaning they have no game in life, so they use power, influence, and money to impress young wannabe actresses.
Yeah.
And those dorks are everywhere. Now, some of them are creeps, yeah, I guess. But I don't if I saw creepy behavior, I would say something.
Yeah. Well, you do say something. Because it got brought up. You were in the Scream franchise.
Yes.
You were amazing.
Thank you so much.
So friggin' cute. I can't stand it. You were so cute. And you recently took Nev Campbell's back, who will not be joining.
I know. Handle it. Wait, take a second.
Listen to me. I am Italian.
I know.
Jamie, I'm not going to let anyone fuck with you. Not now, not ever.
It's too many dudes.
I'll put a ghost face on and take a fucking knife.
Go for it.
Do you want me to?
No.
You just have to blink once if you want me to handle this.
Let's see if we can do
Okay.
one more.
All right. You totally had Nev Campbell's back for not returning because she said financially it wasn't cool. It didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you do speak out a lot for women, which I appreciate you using your voice for. When it came to the Scream franchise, when it very first started, did you guys ever think it would be what it was when you read the script for Randy Meeks' character?
I knew it was going to be great. I knew it was a very unique, because you get scripts and there's something called descriptions, and it's like interior, house, night, a dimly lit room, blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot of that. And then you get to the dialogue and it's like, meh, and you lose track of it. And I was reading that script and I just kept turning the page. And it was like interior kitchen night. And it was just this dialogue of the beginning of the Drew scene. So I was like, this is just so good. It just literally was like so gripping and engaging. And I read the script in probably an hour. So I thought, this is a really cool little horror movie. Mm-hmm. It would be incredible if I could get a part in this. Like, I had an audition and I got the whole script. You know how rare that is? Like, this movie's so revered, excuse me. And I got the script, so I read it, and the part was really good, and I had to audition my head off. And I thought, if this could be a cult classic, it'd be great. And so that's what we thought. We thought it's a unique take. Horror was dead at the time. We were all up and coming except Courtney. She was, a big star. And did I know? We thought once we started making it, we thought we had a chance at something. Did I know it was going to be part of pop culture lexicon now more for the rest of history? No, I did not.
I mean, because people are obsessed. I have a friend who listens
they're obsessed.
They're obsessed.
They're obsessed.
My best friend told me a story about he would listen to the Scream soundtrack in his bedroom when he would get out of school with the lights off. And I should have been terrified at that point being his friend.
Yeah,
but I
really
like
should.
toxic people, and so I continued the friendship. People were obsessed and still are with the franchise. And it's
Yeah.
incredible that it blew up the way that it did. And then was that sort of because Malibu's Most Wanted came after Scream.
Yeah.
So the Malibu's Most Wanted comes.
Yeah, that was 7 years later.
But you were already doing B-Rad in the Jamie Kennedy Experiment.
Yeah, and I was doing them on stage.
Okay.
So I had done stand up, and then I started getting acting roles, and then I got Scream. And when I got Scream, I got real busy, and so for 4 years I was really busy doing movies, just movie to movie to movie. And then I got a little quiet, and then people started giving me development deals, and I was like, where's the movies? And so my agents were like, do the development deal. So I did that. And then I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a TV show, I'll do this one. This is the one I want to do. And so I created, along with 3 other guys, the Jamie Kane experiment. And I had been doing stand-up at colleges and all this throughout my movie career. So I took the B-Rad, and that was one of the staples of the pilot of Jamie Kane experiment. And then Warner Brothers was like, hey, you're up and coming comedian, you want to do a movie? And it was a whole process. And I said, I want to do it on this character. And it's wild times. They took a chance. I sat in there with the president's studio and my producer, and we just hashed it out until we got it done.
Do you think that if you would have produced the movie in 2023, would it have been able to be made with all of the ways that people cancel everything?
Here's the thing. It should be. So for people like you, it should be. It's what we need. We need a. First of all, the answer no. The answer is no. It could not be made. It would not be made. But it should be made. Mm-hmm. But a different, what B-Rad was now, the second one would be B-Rad is kind of a fish out of water in this new culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it could not be made, but it should be because it keeps us in check. Like, that's what comedy does. Comedy goes, hey, this is absurd. Just want to put a mirror up to it. You realize that, right? And then if it's good comedy, it'll make you think. And so we're at a point right now where we're just accepting fantasy. And it's like, whoa, we're in a moment of non-reality. And if you comment on certain realms of this reality, they'll call you they'll call you like you're a phobe or you're an ist or something. And it's like, whoa, nothing is beyond reproach. Why are you so scared to get commented on? And so that you have to be careful of the people that want to cut out a man's tongue,
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, we need comedy more than ever. Don't you think it's fascinating? You see less and less. The only comedy you see in stand-up, which is great, but where's your movies? Where's your TV shows? They've kneecapped it because there's you tell me. I mean, if you cannot joke about something and question it, why? Why is that?
I want to ask you, did an amazing, Jesus Christ.
No, it's really annoying. I walked in and there was like 50 dudes. What are they doing? And like
blowing each other.
29 pizzas. I'm like, did I just walk into Zeta Beta?
Did you?
Like, what the fuck? And then I see John Orlando. He doesn't have an ounce of fat. I remember him as a normal guy. He's like,
well, he doesn't eat the pizza. He gives it away. He's gluten-free now.
I just told someone in the studio to tell the people to stop fucking the green room door. So that stops.
So fun.
Thank you so much, Chase.
I've got you.
Okay, thank you, babe. Should I go out there and say something, though?
Do you want to go tell them to stop fucking the green room door?
Are they just kidding? Like, are they doing something? Are they...
It's that door just when it opens and closes. They're just continuing opening and closing the door.
It's just a door?
It's a door.
Sorry, Jamie.
All right, keep going.
One thing that you said, I was going through your Instagram,
Yes.
is you talk about the COVID vaccine. And you said,
Yes.
I asked one question. And something I like about your comedy, because I think it makes people think, is you use a lot of metaphors.
I try.
And I think that is an appropriate way to sort of explain a situation that's a little handsy. But what was it when it came to the vaccine for you?
What do
You
you
just
mean?
wanted to ask one question.
Oh.
And then
Well,
you kind of say, I don't want to say it because it's your stuff, but like you were like, if you were ever to buy a car, if you were ever to do anything.
Oh yeah, like if I were to go, like I'm actually looking for a house right now, and one of the things you have to do is you look at comps, okay, and then you look at the history of the sales in the neighborhood, and you could look at school boards, although I don't have a kid, or you look at where's a Whole Foods. You look at multiple things in making a purchase. What's the Airbnb status in the neighborhood? And when you do that, you're what we call an informed shopper, okay? You ask one question about a new vaccine that was made in record time, and you're a conspiracy theorist. And that tells you everything you need to know, you know? It's like what my dad used to say to me, he's a beautiful soul. But to kids, he would say, to his kids, he would say, little people ought to be seen and not heard. And which is funny because he was sweet, but he was like, yo, just don't ask questions. Fucking, this is where we're going. You know what I'm saying? And it's great. If you're 8 years old, that's what you do. You get in the back of the Chrysler and you just let your dad take you to the park, right? Or wherever we're going to go that day. But that's what the government was. The government was treating us like 8-year-olds. And let me get deep on this for a second. And the arrogance of the college educated, I want to say, more left-leaning person. I didn't go to college, okay? I have millions of dollars, okay? I'm lucky. I've also worked hard. But I have enough academia in my family to understand the college mindset. And these people that are indoctrinated by this system that just trust big government, but yet these are the same people that will rail at certain things like Occupy Wall Street or, you know, the bank bailouts. This is no different. It is a mandated thing from your government. And the fact that the government and whatever you want to say, the powers that be, were so good at pitting people against each other was a super win and an amazing psychological maneuver by the powers that be, and I applaud them for that because they turned people against each other, which it was like I have people that are, well, I have people in my life, all types of people that are vaxxed. I'm not vaxxed. I'm not vaxxed at all, okay, and I proudly say that. I will never get fucking vaxxed, okay, but of course I was part of the society that had the immunization as a kid and stuff. I didn't know what the fuck I was getting. I was 5 years old, you know, but there was just too quick and too many fucking red flags, okay? And people, I know people hit my DMs all the time, and they tell me stories.
What do they say? Tell me, what do they say when they hit your DMs?
I was a healthy 26-year-old sprinter. I now have serious lower chamber damage, myocarditis. My mother got it. She's fucking had the shakes. My father, my grandmother, my aunt just passed away. I know peripherally at least 6 people in the last 9 months that have passed away, young. Anywhere from 38 to 50. And of course they say, just a coincidence. Yeah, I had Taco Bell on Tuesday. I still have diarrhea, but it's just a coincidence. You know, so this is, and I will go down, I don't know why. Like, I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know when this happened. There's my family, except my brother and my sister, they know I'm not vaxxed. My other 3 sisters think I'm totally vaxxed.
So what are you, a total of 1 of 6?
Yeah. I would never tell them. They would think I'm crazy. But
you don't think they've seen your social media or anything?
No, they don't follow. They won't follow any of this. They these are people that go to college still. They believe in college. No offense to my family. I can't tell them this. Like, they believe that in 4 years, college is, don't get me crazy. Is anyone familiar with ChatGTP? Like, it's the society in the next 2 years, just 2. Is going to be so transformed, people are going to have their head is going to explode. They have no fucking idea. They don't pay attention. And it's like the same with this shit. There's just, it's insane to me. And yes, there are people, you know, my boy who opens for me, he got the
Nikki
vax.
Paris, yeah.
Oh, no, I don't know about Nikki.
Oh, Kyle.
Well, Kyle, I mean, it's not my place to talk about him, so I maybe cut stuff. But, you know, me and him, we don't share totally views, but he's like, yeah, I did it. And he's like, but I see your point, but I also just like wanted to do it.
I mean, because listen, not that I agree or disagree with you, but one of the things I wanted to do when I got to have my own
tell
podcast
me your opinion.
I'm very open. I really appreciated something that I appreciated. I got vaxxed. It was work mandated for me. And
how many times?
Twice.
How do you feel?
I feel okay,
Okay, good.
but I also live a healthy lifestyle. Like I am healthy. I know
Yeah.
other people that are not. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
one thing that I found I'm not a cancel culture bitch. I don't agree with that. I think having conversations and educating on all aspects are very important to me. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't care to be right about anything. I want to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
And something about your stand-up, because look, I love funny people. I love comedy. Fuck that I've ever done it. I love to laugh, and I think it's the best way to make a situation that's usually very difficult much more palpable, which is probably why I'm funny. I grew up fucked up. I have a lot of trauma. So Funny It Hurts is all about why we're funny and the trauma that made us that way. When people say you're so funny, I'm like, thanks, I'm fucked up. So that's why. You know what I'm saying? So I like it all. I appreciate it all. But when you talk about it, you specifically, you've been the first one to really deliver it in a way that, to me, is not very, I don't see people getting very defensive. I think that, I'm not going to share your set with you, but if you have a chance to see your set, I would run, not walk, the way you talk about Biden, the way you talk about women's marches. I mean, I am a woman. I love being a woman. I was laughing very hard last night. You have a really great way of making good points.
I appreciate that. And I think that that's kind of my MO as a comic, is that I go to the Catholic schoolboy angle, meaning I was raised in the Catholic school system. So it was like pushing the envelope to right to the edge, but being cute about it. And I think
So Catholic school made you cheeky and adorable and able to say things that are difficult to say. And they say so much about those goddamn Catholic schools.
I think so, because like I tied my own bow tie. I learned all these little things, and you wear your sweater vest. It had to be pressed. So you had to be this presentable young little boy. But I questioned the whole system. So, but if I questioned it too much, I'd be thrown out. So if I had a domineering mother and domineering nuns, it was either that or get out of the system. And it's like I didn't want to be homeless. So that was I had to maneuver my way around it and find other allies. And so every dude that I hang out with, my buddies, all from that are very rebellious. All my friends that I'm still friends with to this day were very much similar like that. Irish Catholic or Italian families, a lot of sisters. And so we maneuvered it. And I think that it's a way to do it, because comedy is not preachy. Comedy is not hitting someone over the head. Comedy can be escapism, but comedy should be informative. And where you want, if I'm badgering the audience with a hammer, they're like, this is what it is. I have to ingratiate myself to the audience. Okay, so first of all, I have to acknowledge I have a lot of different layers I have to go through in a short amount of time because of who I am. So I have to let people know that they know me, they have baggage with me. I have to then be self-deferential and what's that word? Self-depreciating.
Deprecating?
Yes. So I let their defenses down.
Yeah.
Right? And then as I do that, then within that, they think, oh, he's humble. And then they'll go, ooh, he's funny. And then slowly but surely, I start putting my ideas into them and indoctrinating them because I hook them. And at the end of it, I'm leading them. That's the levels of a set for me.
So you're a little manipulator. Just kidding.
All day.
I'm kidding.
All day. A good comic should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. I don't think that's bad.
Yeah.
But it's not manipulation. It's what I believe. But if I want you to think like me, if you want to win an audience over, you have to manipulate them into your beliefs.
Is that the secret, you think? Is that a secret?
Oh, it's one of the secrets.
And not in a bad way. It's like foreplay before the big show.
Yeah, it's like if you just go out there and you're just entertaining and funny, that's just one thing. You're just an entity, right? If you go out there and you're entertaining, but you're edgy, your edginess has to be funny enough within the edge so they feel okay laughing at it. If you're funny and you're edgy edgy, but you want to be informative, then your informative has to be funny, but also have enough common sense and facts behind it where they go, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could be manipulation, but it's more like just deep dive in, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know if we finished the Vax talk, but it's okay.
We can talk about whatever you want.
You get in trouble for that.
It's my show, and this is the conversations that we're having. I'll talk about anything you want to talk about.
I like that. But what you said, one thing on that, which really pissed me off, is work mandated.
Yeah, you don't like that.
Where was the work?
It was a.
Do you work there now?
I don't.
Exactly. Take that clip right now and send it out. I know a few people that did it and got fired. That's enough to make me want to go in that office and fucking break every window.
Yeah. Yeah, you're for the people.
I'm for what's right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making.
It's insane. It's fucking crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like that just. Ugh.
Yeah.
I would be homeless before I would do that because I don't give a fuck. Because I have been broke.
Yeah. What
Maybe
was it like for you
much.
in the pandemic? No, you didn't say. Listen, it's a full conversation that I want to have with you. I think people were in very different, desperate situations during the pandemic. It also got very dark for a lot of people, including myself. I lost my grandmother. I had to start therapy.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. It was the best thing that happened. But a lot of people went very dark in their beliefs and just trying to see. I know a lot of comics. Kyle talked about it last night, how he didn't work for 15 months being a stand-up comedian. Did you go through any bouts, or even have you in your career had bouts of depression or unkind thoughts about yourself, just being in this industry, just doing what you do? I mean,
there's a lot of questions there, so let me try to answer.
Okay.
I'll answer the last one first. One of my earliest memories of this, of having doubts, I was 1991. I was living in a very, very one room, not even a real apartment, hot plate, that type of stuff in Koreatown. This was right before the riots. And I was broke, and I had a one TV, and I remember watching I don't know, some ABC News or some interview with Gina Davis. And I'll never forget this. And Gina Davis, beautiful, glorious, amazing actress, is like, I always knew I was going to make it. And I'm sitting in my shitty, like a bad stereotype, my shitty apartment with my hot plate, like ketchup and ice cubes in the fridge. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to make it. I'm like, maybe I'm just fucked. Like, I just thought that really fucked me up, this interview. And I thought I might never make it. And so I would go out and I would do an open mic or something, and my car was getting towed. I had nothing. And I just was like, well, what else am I going to do? And so anytime I thought I was going to quit, I already was quit. I was already at the bottom.
Yeah.
I had nothing to fall back on. And so that's what, you can never have a fallback plan, but you can't, because it takes a whole life to get a life. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a fallback plan if you're trying to be a lawyer. So you don't have a fallback plan if you're trying to be a comedian. So the bottom line is I was already at the bottom. And so there's two types of people. You either die or you thrive. And I was like, well, I got nothing else. So that was that. But in terms of the pandemic, I'm pretty fortunate. My whole life is I'm on the road all the time and stuff. So I was happy to get a break. I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm fortunate I have a house. And so I was in my house and I was doing stuff I never did. I was cooking and I was fixing stuff up. And, I was just really enjoying it. I was with my girlfriend, and we were getting to love each other. And it was a wild time. And I didn't drink. I didn't really do any drugs. I stopped drinking 4 years ago. I'm not saying I won't ever again. I just was this is not.
Are you sober now or not drinking now?
I don't drink, yeah. I'm not sober. I haven't gone to any meetings or anything, and I'm not against it, but I just started as a, what's the word? It was a vanity thing. My face was puffy. I started seeing myself in like guest spots on TV shows, and I was like, I don't look good. So I stopped for like 1 month, and then 1 month became 2 months, and then 2, 3 months. And then like you start making these little baby changes, and then I started like getting more creative and started like doing pull-ups.
I love that. Listen, I haven't had a drink in a month, and it wasn't for any other reason than vanity as well. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm like getting a little puffy.
I think booze is kind of going to go the way of the cigarette.
I think so too.
It's starting to happen. There's a bar opened up by Woody Harrelson. It's a mocktail bar in LA, and I think that the new generation is like, would rather microdose. And I hate to sound corny. I'm like, well, you do what you do, but I can't stand drunk people now. Like they're like a mess. And, and I do kind of get high off of just,
people watching.
Yeah, and so, but I'm not against it. But I hate to. I'm going on a rabbit hole, but it does definitely make a lesser version of yourself in terms of like the choices. So, but anyway, the pandemic was. There were the big moments were of like if you get that thing. Other than that, I was using it as a positive thing to try to better myself.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate you taking all the time with me.
Of course.
And I really do. I want to ask you, and then I want to talk about something that sounds so good to me, Don't Suck, which is a project that you're working on right now, which is so great. It's done. But when I was going through your Instagram, I saw that I forgot that you made the album with Bob Saget.
Yes.
And we lost Bob Saget.
Yes.
What kind of effect did he have on you as a comedian, as a friend? I mean, because I feel like people watch this, myself included, inspired by you. But like, who are your Jamie Kennedy?
My Jamie Kennedys are Eddie Murphy, Joan Rivers, Sam Kinison.
Oh yeah.
Those are people that I was raised on. Dana Carvey's, Mike Myers, and such. But Bob was one of my real life mentors. Also like Craig Shoemaker, one of my mentors. But like Bob was he was a special person. Like he did my show very early on when no one would do it, so he co-signed my show, The Jamie Kennedy Experiment, and made it like something that people could be on. Like he was a big star, and he blessed it, and he allowed me to open for him. I had opened for him in like the Comedy Magic Club, and I opened for him in the Vegas Festival, and he was just very encouraging. He was like, "Look, man," he's like, "You're on the right path. You got to do this, and just keep doing it." And the music came after he did my show. And that was so it was like the actor in my show, and then letting me open for him as a stand-up. And then me and my friend Stu, we decided to do an album. And we called, Kanye, and he was like, no way. And then we called.
Did you call Kanye?
Yeah, we called Kanye.
And he said no.
He wasn't into it. And then we called Fitty. It wasn't like he was a direct no, but it was like pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we tried to get Fitty. We couldn't get a hold of him. We went to Jay-Z's people. Like, we wanted a real guest set. Obviously we were shooting for the stars. And then Stu grabs my phone and starts going through it. And he's like, yo, what about Saget? And I'm like, that's a different way to take the song. And Stu's like, I know. So then Stu got inspired, and he knew about my relationship with Bob and how we would literally go out to this club at La Cienega at 2:00 and knock. They'd go, we're closed. And he goes, it's Saget. And then like literally a wooden door would open. We'd roll in. Cosmopolitans, the best fucking Wagyu hamburgers. Like we would, remember Ledoux? We would go to Ledoux.
I love Ledoux.
Yeah, it would close at 2. Well, we would stay till 5.
Oh my God.
All of that type of shit, and we would go to after parties. And so we wrote the song, and then the song became what people were laughing because it was against what. Entourage did it well when they showed his lifestyle, which was, against his image. And then our song glorified that image of the other side that people didn't know. And then we would relive that image. You know what I mean? We went out. We went to Vegas together multiple times. We did shows. We did tons of stuff. And beautiful soul. It affected me deeply. I haven't been close with him in the last, 8 or 9 years. Not meaning just like because our circles change,
Yeah.
And I got to do his pod right before, a couple months before, and he was going to do mine. And I was extremely shocked, and a lot of people had called me about it. And I have a lot of emotions about it. I have a lot of emotions that he was very healthy. He went very soon. Also, some of the details that came out later, I don't know. But as a human being, he's a beautiful soul. And, I wish his family and his daughters, nothing but peace.
Yeah. I'm sorry for your loss because I can only imagine. So I'm really sorry about that.
Well, I mean, it's his family and his wife, or much more than me. But as a
friend
God,
and
as a mentor and someone who, why you like me is because of Bob. Bob has sprinkled his pixie dust on me.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the pixie dust you're sprinkling with "Don't Suck" because
I like that term.
I love it. It's Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Is the vampire.
Yeah.
Who I got to know from TikTok. He's blowing up. He's insane, dude.
Yeah.
His crowd work is unbelievable. He's nuts.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Yeah.
And he plays a vampire. But the premise, I want you to talk about it because it's coming out.
Yeah.
Don't Suck.
Here's what it is. So, an amazing comedian by the name of Rick D'Elia, who's actually a local here now.
Which you will be soon. I'm just going to manifest this.
Manifest.
You can live in our house.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah, come move in.
You and your wife.
Yeah, please.
He wrote this script, and it was called 2 Pint Minimum. And I'm like, I ain't reading that fucking script, which is crazy.
People must send you scripts all the time, all kinds of shit.
I do, all kinds of shit. And so he talked to me about it in 2017, almost 6 years ago, in the green room of the factory, which is crazy. That's kind of all things go back to the factory in Vegas. And he was telling me about it. I'm like, okay, bro, sounds cool. And then he sent me the script. I never read it. And then a year and a half later, he's like, hey man, I sent you that script, funding's coming for that movie. And I was like, oh cool, man. Well, let me know when it's real. So people ask you to read a script and stuff, and it's a lot of work. So it's if you want to send me a script, you have to send them with an offer. Here's the fucking offer. Here's what it is. So we know you're real. So he sends a real offer, and he sends a real money, real points, real everything. And I was like, okay. And so he's like, just read 10 pages. If you hate it, then, I'll move on. And so I read 10 pages. I read the title. I hate the title. And from page 1, I was like, this is incredible. And the script is unbelievable. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything until I finish the script. And so it's amazing. He's so talented. So the script is about a comedian who's aging. Stop it. And he gets an opener. And this opener is wants to open for him. And he's like, you can keep my money. You can do this stuff. You can do whatever. All I want to do is I just want to learn the craft of comedy. And he's like, okay. The guy makes it so he can't say no. So as this guy starts opening for him, that's that young Matt Rife, the guy starts noticing weird behaviors about this guy. And then he realizes, at some point it's revealed that his opener is a vampire. Now, it sounds like a crazy premise.
The trailer's amazing.
But thank you.
The trailer, I swear to God, is amazing because I saw it. And normally if you would say it to me, I'd be like, bro, I don't know.
Stupid. Exactly.
Okay. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Well, because we have a great director, Raja, and he's really good at letting people do what they do. He's got a great DP. He's got, great actors. He's a great writer. But he's also a problem solver. and he knows how to keep the tone of the movie. And I'm like, what is this movie? And he's like, this is Twilight meets a Jamie Kennedy movie. And I'm like, that's a great description.
Yeah.
And there's drama in it. There's heart. There's scary moments. There's a lot of comedy. But it's basically the whole morale of the movie is this character, mine, basically wants the other guy to bite him so he can become immortal and become famous. And there's a deeper lesson there about what fame. And so it's incredible. And, you know, young Maddie boy, when we did this, was just, you know, grinding it out. Like, and since we shot this movie, he's become,
blew up.
He is already a huge star, but he's on the way to superstar. Like he'll be playing arenas within, you know, 18 months, in my opinion.
Wow.
It's that how big he will be. And he's going to be one of our biggest. And it's incredible. I mean, it was like we caught this beautiful, young, rising, hilarious star. So now we just have to figure out, we want to put the movie out. We're going to actually have a screening of it here next week if you want to come.
Yeah, I would love to come.
May 9th at the Westgate. But I really want, you know, I think if it comes out, people will like it, and it could be like the little engine that could.
Listen, I'm telling you, I love it. I feel like I've been missing you in films. You really did affect. And not, I swear to God, like, not because you're here. I'm so grateful that you're here. You don't know me that well, like, really. And I am such a fan of yours. And the thing I most appreciate is you using your truth and your honesty and authenticity in your comedy. And it just, I feel like, it's just so smart, and you're so smart, and I appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate you.
And they can see you at the Laugh Factory, right? You're here for the next couple nights.
Yeah, when's this come out?
It's going to come out when they're gone, so fuck it. You're not going to fucking see them, so maybe you'll see Don't Suck, because I fucking do.
Go to my website, JanieKennedy.com. You can see all my tour dates.
I haven't sucked in a while, then. It's been a couple fucking years.
Wait, but you used to suck.
I did used to suck. I had to suck a lot to realize I didn't want to suck.
Am I allowed to?
And that is on a deeper level as well for me. Where's that fucking trombone? Take us out.